The strangest, craziest experience of my life. By Sweet. Hello, everybody. This is something new. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's just get into it. The craziest experience of my life. I was 18, student at a United World College once upon a time, studying the International Baccalaureate for 2 years. Can be very stressful, especially when you are studying in another country, away from home, in a hostel full of brain cases who mostly love to work. Well, I wasn't one of them. In my first year, I smoked a lot of cannabis, and in the second trimester of that year, I even sold hash brownies in the form of waffles. I smoked weed almost every day. I had a good time. I have been spiked on ecstasy before, and I think I've been spiked with cocaine once too, mixed in with the weed I bought. Those 2 nights were intense, but nothing compared to what I experienced with Moonflower. Datura inoxia, I later found out. They grow all around the hostel, but not many people at school knew about them until recently. Ooh, I need to start bringing this up. Like I said, guys, this is new, so bear with me. I'd heard rumors that they were hallucinogenic, and always having wanted to do shrooms and never having had the opportunity, I was very excited at this new drug. The first time I tried it, nothing happened, apart from a feeling of nausea and a strange feeling in my throat. This was possibly because I had only used the petals of the flowers, and not the whole flower with pollen stems included. I had boiled them and drank them with a friend, about 4 flowers. Nothing happened. But then a term later, I heard that my friend from Ecuador, where they are apparently very common, had tried it before, and that she had gone mole for the whole night. When I asked her about it, she said that it was very intense and did not advise me to do it because it was very dangerous, but I kind of ignored her warning. I was on a drug contract at school, and they regularly tested to see if I had been doing weed, so I couldn't smoke a joint when I wanted to get high. I was walking back from gym and dinner with a friend from Mexico when we came across the plants on our usual path up to the hostel. Very keen, I told him about the plant and said that I would try it that evening. He decided to join me, and off we went, picking flowers. Honestly, this is very relaxing. Interesting. I could see myself doing this more. I hope you guys enjoy this. Coming across my Ecuadorian friend, she got very angry that I did not heed her warning, but she could not convince me apart from telling me that 1 flower was more than enough. So we dropped all our flowers but kept 1 each and went up to my room, where we each crushed our own flower and made tea with them in separate cups. Adding sugar and juice to taste, we drank the potion, occasionally swallowing a piece of flower that was not crushed properly. Getting the familiar feeling of dry throat, I decided to drink a lot of water and watch a movie with my friend. After half an hour or so, he suddenly got up and says, "I feel something," and just walked out of my room. I tried to follow him, but upon getting up, I realized that it had hit me too, and I could not walk anymore. Another 2 friends of mine, a Swazi and an American, came into my room and asked what was up with the first friend. I told them about it, and one of them, being a stoner too, convinced the other to join him and ourselves on the party. They followed the same routine with a flower each, and I cannot remember them drinking the tea, but I remember trying to vomit in the toilet. But only sound came out, and no matter. The rest is blurry, but I will account according to what I do remember and according to what friends told me. After trying to puke, I needed to pee. After having drunk so much water, I peed and I peed and I peed, but it wouldn't stop. So I decided to put my trousers back on while I was still peeing, of course wetting myself in the process. Holy shit. I must still have been a bit conscious because I tried to change, only I thought that I was changing in my room, but actually in the bathroom, because they found my trousers in the bathroom the next day. I went back to my room in my boxers only, I didn't realize this, where my 2 other friends were apparently having a party. I couldn't talk to them, but the movie was still playing on quite a high volume, and this was during prep time. A supervising teacher walked into my room where I was trying to stand up. Come to think of it, I don't know how I got back to my room, and asked us what was going on. I tried to say nothing was wrong and said goodnight, but everything came out very strange indeed, and at 6:30 p.m. you don't really wish the check-in teacher goodnight because you would see him when checking in anyways. He asked us to stay in my room and rushed off. My two friends panicked, and I think they might have run off or at least tried to. My brother told me the next day that he came across my first friend the previous night and that he had been talking nonsense when spoken to. He had said that he had last seen me in Pakistan at a party with my two stepmothers about 7 months ago. I did not even know him 7 months ago. I do not have any stepmothers, and I've never been to Pakistan. Next thing I know, I'm standing in my room. I don't know where I was in reality. And the supervising teacher grabs me by the arm and drags me somewhere. I don't remember much, but next thing I'm standing in the common room and my best friend from Norway is trying to put some shorts onto my body. I was later told that all three friends were also in the common room, one clutching a toilet seat and mumbling that it was perfect like this, another rubbing his hands over the toilet seat and saying it was beautiful, the other trying to check his corridor in and shouting that some of them must turn down their music. There was no music in the common room, and none of the people he was checking in were there. Besides, he was holding an imaginary clipboard and pen. This is well written. The rest of the early evening is a blur, but without knowing it, we were all transported to hospital where the party began. I thought I was in detention and did not recall that I was high at all. I kept complaining that they should not keep us in for detention at night and that I would rather do manual labor next time. I said the detention was too long, that they weren't allowed to keep us in for the night and that I would most certainly complain. I also kept asking why I was in detention in the first place, that I had gone to the previous week, so there was no reason to keep me in. I was restless for the whole night, and what a night it was. They kept putting me on the drip, and I kept pulling it out. I remember doing this once, but I did it more than that. I had to go to the toilet constantly. I vaguely remember that. And although I believed I was urinating, they said I wasn't and wouldn't let me go to the loo anymore when I asked them if I could. This made me angry at times. I was now in detention, and I wasn't even allowed to go to the toilet. I remember constantly sitting up for some reason, and my friend's father, whom I did not recognize at the time, kept pushing me back down on the bed and asked me to lie still and go to sleep. I said okay, but got up again every 5 seconds. I remember reading from a heavy book and making notes in a notepad. The book was the key to something, but I cannot remember what. All of a sudden, I got a fright from something, and I dropped the book, the notepad, and the pencil. I wanted to pick them up, but they were gone. I was looking for them for so long until my friend's father asked me to lie still. I said okay, and after 10 seconds, I would start worrying about it and look for it again. I turned over all my blankets and looked under the hospital bed, but there was nothing. The same happened with my keys, my flash drive, and my cell phone, all of which I had left in my room at school anyways. I kept being asked to lie still, but I was so worried about losing everything that I just had to keep looking and turn my bed, mattress, blankets, and even clothes upside down and inside out. I just want to say real quick, this is extremely well written and remarkable that this guy has such great recollection of such an intense experience. Shout out to Sweet. I was told that at one stage I had asked where my girlfriend was. They had told me that she wasn't around, and I gave a sneaky smile and rolled and smoked an imaginary joint. I feel your pain, buddy. When I sobered up a little bit, I sort of knew what I was doing, but I still didn't know I was high or in what trouble I was. I was asked to pee in a cup so that they test my urine for traces of cannabis or other substances. Somehow I knew that they shouldn't find out, and I was used to being urine tested, so I recognized it, even without them telling me what it was for. So I ran towards the bathroom in the hospital hall, but ran straight past it, as I had been doing for the whole night, and was directed into the bathroom by the doctor. Instinctively, I locked the door and was happy when I found out I could just put a little bit of pee and mostly tap water into the cup. Upon returning the cup, the doctor commented that it was cold and see-through, but I was still very high and merely said that's how I had been pissing recently. No further questions were asked. Then they wanted to take a blood sample. I panicked because now they'd surely find out. and started to saying that I was shit scared of needles, not remembering or noticing that I had a drip in my arm. I remember getting up at one stage and walking over to a friend who was also on the drip and in the same state as I. I was also annoyed with the drip and was looking for scissors to cut it off. Noticing a tube in his arm and thinking it was a pair of scissors, I tried to pick it up, but it hurt him, so he cried out, "Ow!" I don't remember much of what happened next. In the early morning, I saw many people leaving the room. Well, it was actually only 3 people leaving, the doctor and 2 nurses. And I felt that it was unjust that they go and I can't. I complained again and again. Next thing I remember, I'm in the hospital bed again and my brother is standing next to me. He had been informed of what had happened to me and was pretty worried and disappointed. All of a sudden, there were ants all over my bed and the TV turned into a cat. Oh my God. The other TV, which was also off, was showing horrible images of a monster drowning a baby in a well. Oh my God. Another friend of mine had tears in her eyes when she told me how scared she had been that I would have died, gone crazy, or fallen into a coma. My girlfriend and her mother arrived on scene and my girl was very upset, bawling her eyes out. I was still seeing insects on the bed and telling people that they should just look closer if they couldn't see them. I was angry that they didn't believe me, but then my first friend who had drank the tea with me shouted from the other side of the room that he could see them too. He was still talking Spanish to the nurses, and they only understood English, and babbling on about nothing. The 2 other friends who had drank the tea a bit later had been smoking imaginary cigarettes all night, and one of them had asked his mom if she was a volunteer worker and commented that she was very nice to him, asking her how much she got paid to look after him so well. When a nurse had walked by, he had asked his mom, thinking it was someone else, "Do you think that dude has weed for me?" The other had been talking to our deputy principal about how much he loves weed, and they had been talking to each other in a conversation of nonsense babbles, not words, but it had seemed that they could understand each other. For another 3 days, my vision was kind of blurry and I could not talk long sentences because I would lose concentration. But now I think I'm 100% fine again. I got expelled from school, although I will write exams there. My girlfriend and I are still together and she just hopes I won't do any drugs again. Although I admit the experience was quite hectic, I really enjoyed it, and had I not been restrained in the hospital, I would have had an even better time. Although I would do it again if it were not for exams or for my girlfriend, I would take it in a smaller dosage, maybe half a flower in tea, and make sure someone is watching me and doesn't let me get into trouble. The dosage I took was dangerous according to the doctors, but in controlled accounts I would recommend it, not for the paranoid. Enjoy and take care. Personally, I gave up all substance abuse once a while, getting drunk and replacing it with going to the gym, working out, everything bad that I've consumed over the past 4 years of my life. This was a story by a guy named Sweet from 2007. Datura, man. Holy shit. I've only heard of Datura. How is that how you say it? Datura? That's literally how little I know about this drug. So this insane experience that this guy had is shocking to me. It reminds me of a very, very intense, it reminds me of very, very bad psychedelic trips that I've had. The visuals and stuff like that. It's remarkable to me that this guy has such a great recollection of it, and I wonder if that is because it's Datura and not other psychedelics. It's amazing to me that it lasted in what appears to be a long time with strong visuals for hours and hours and hours. This makes me very interested in Datura and makes me honestly want to do a video on it, like a documentary kind of video on it, just to learn more. That just sounds interesting. Shout out to Sweet for the story. If you guys are interested in reading it yourself or going through other trip stories like these, there's an entire vault of stories, like hundreds or thousands of them, on this website called Arrowhead. I knew about Arrowhead for a long time, but just recently found out that they had these. So let me know what you guys think about these, man. This was honestly really relaxing. I could see myself doing this quite often. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really want to do my best to not seem like I'm trying to steal content or take advantage of content or anything like that, because that's not at all what this is. I just feel like I really enjoyed telling my stories. I think that there's a lot of benefits to it, and because I haven't done psychedelics like I used to anymore, because I don't want to like necessarily. It's almost like makes like it almost pushes me away from doing trips, because sometimes during the trips or before them, I have this thought in my head that I'm gonna make it into a video, and that kind of fucks up my experience, if that makes sense. So in a sense, I'm kind of doing this so I can kind of get past all that as well. So I do want to say real quick, for those who've made it to the end of this video, if you're interested in talking with me or any of the people who are on the channel in this community, you can do so on our Discord. Our Discord is new, but it's really, really cool, and it's nice being able to keep in touch with you guys and talk about, you know, experiences and get video suggestions from you guys and things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, that'll be in the description as well. Thank you. Another big shout out to Sweet for the story. Appreciate everyone. Thank you guys. Much love. Be happy, be yourself, and I'll see you guys next time.